All right, welcome back to National Report. Just under a week away from Election Day, we are keeping an eye here on the latest polls. You see one of them here in New Jersey on your screen. The governor's race in the Garden State. This race is virtually in a dead heat, with Mikey Sherrill leading with a single-point lead, 49 to 48% for Jack Ciattarelli. He has Trump's endorsement. Again, closing in on on Sherrill, although one polling has it a 7-point difference favoring Sherrill. This is how polling goes, though.
Yes, it varies, as we can tell. Let's talk about it with our panelists here. Jeff Cooner's back with us, host of the Cooner Report in Boston. Deneen Borelli, Newsmax contributor. Charles Love, host of the Cut the Bull podcast. And we'll welcome in David Carlucci, Democrat strategist. We want to hear from everyone, so we'll start round robin. And Deneen, ladies first. What do you think is going to happen in New Jersey?
Well, first of all, Obama's going to be campaigning for Sherrill tomorrow. So, they've got to be a little nervous there because they're bringing out him. But with Ciattarella, look, he's focused on crime, one of the big issues that is going on, not only nationwide, but in New Jersey. So that is something I think that will be important, and also energy.
Yeah. David Carlucci, going to you on this one. Obviously, I mentioned all the various polls that have Mikey Sherrill in the lead of Jack Ciattarelli, but Ciattarelli did receive President Trump's endorsement. Maybe talk about the differences between these two candidates. Many say that Ciattarelli is able in moments here to hold strong to what he would do on day one. He's able to answer these questions with executive orders. If he was governor, Sherrill was put in that hot seat before, so to speak, and she was unable, looking up in the air, not able to come up with an answer, yet she is leading in the polls. David Carlucci, your thoughts on the race in the Garden State?
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons for each candidate, like you started to mention. Jack has the benefit of Donald Trump, but also the detriment of President Trump. Both President Trump and Governor Murphy are underwater in terms of their favorability. Trump is doing a little bit worse. The Garden State hasn't elected a governor as the same party as the president since 1985. So there's a lot of precedents and traditions. I think the thing that is most damaging to the Republican candidate is the fact that Donald Trump has rescinded a $20 billion transit project that will dramatically improve the quality of life of northern New Jersey residents. So you've seen Ciattarelli try to, placate voters on that. I don't think it's a good look going into the election, but these polls are close, and I think the Democrats are not going to get caught flat-footed. As my friend said, Obama will be out there. He's still one of the most favorite candidates or politicians in the Democratic Party. So I think that will do a lot to drive out some voters that might otherwise stay home to the benefit of Sherrill.
Okay. Very interesting. I noticed you mentioned a local election that could a local issue that motivates voters. And so, Jeff, I'm wondering if the national stories that we cover every single day, whether it's the ICE protest or the government shutdown, if that's also going to weigh on voters in this race. What are your predictions?
I think it will. And when you see people going hungry this weekend, they're going to ask themselves, who cut off the SNAP? Who cut off the food stamps? And it was clearly the Democrats and the Democratic shutdown. But I think the bigger story in New Jersey is, look, the fact that it's this close is a disaster for the Democrats. This is a blue state. This is an off-year election. They should be winning New Jersey and Virginia and these other races by double digits. The fact that this is going down to the wire, I think, shows clearly that Democrats have run New Jersey into the ground. The high taxes, the soaring energy costs, the soft on crime policies. They need a change. They want a change. And God willing, on Tuesday, they're going to get a change.
Yeah, I mean, staying on that topic, Charles, if I can pull this back out to the government shutdown, and I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but the bigger impact is tomorrow, right? The SNAP benefits running out. The bigger impact is for those that are on Obamacare, whether you agree that Obamacare should be in place or not, it does exist, and millions of Americans are on it. Again, whether you like it or not, it is. And open enrollment is tomorrow. There's going to be some sticker shock unless the government opens back up, or rather these subsidies happen. It doesn't look like that is going to happen as you take a look here at Air Force One, President Trump on board, heading off to Florida. As the plane goes up in the air, so do those prices for those signing up for Obamacare. Is there a way to to pivot the conversation for Democrats or for Republicans. It's a big blame game, I guess, is what I'm getting at. It's the other side is the reason the government is shut down. Charles, how do you explain this?
I think that's the way it's going to land. I think it kind of went in, it ebbs and flows. It started with the Republicans control everything, it's their fault. And then as time went on, people started to understand that they were just trying to continue. And the Democrats started saying things like we said earlier about we have leverage, we have leverage. So then it started to help the Republicans. But once this hits, like you say, and they see costs and they can't get their benefits, they're going to say, we don't care. We're upset at everyone. So it's just a matter of who they blame at that moment. And it will have an impact, but it's hard to say who would have the biggest impact for.
Yeah. And we're also learning, too, Deneen, that it seems like senators are headed home for the weekend. So this is not going to be resolved, at least in the next few days. What will you be watching for even next week when it comes to the government shutdown?
Yeah, this is the Democrats' way, I think, of causing more harm and pain to our country and to hardworking Americans. It's the same bill that Biden put out and that the Democrats approved of. So the problem comes down to the Democrats. They own this. They can spin it all they want.
And, I got to get David's, thought on this, too, and then I'll end with you, Jeff. But, David, even the New York Times at this point, and we showed this earlier, point blank saying the Democrats have voted against reopening the government because they want the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. I mean, it's past the point of the Republicans' fault. It's been ironed out already. We understand the subsidies, but that conversation could be saved for a later date. Open the government. This is not what is happening. David, your thoughts are?
Yeah, I mean, you can say that, but look, the president has put his whole career on the fact that he is the author of The Art of the Deal, right? He's the deal maker. He's running around the country trying to make deals with all foreign leaders, everyone except the Democrats, everyone except that really matters. He's just given up. He's actually talked about getting rid of the filibuster, to do things like the nuclear option, everything but negotiating a deal. He's refused to do that. And I think that's going to wear on the president and the GOP in general. Of course, we'll all try to, defend our parties. And I think that it's the Republicans' fault. I really believe that. I think a lot of Americans do as well. I know many of my friends here will spin that. But look, the president has to take responsibility. How could you be the president and control the Senate and Congress and then blame the Democrats? It just doesn't make sense.
All right, Jeff, maybe you've got a final response to that one.
Well, because he's not a king. I'm sorry, but he's not. He's not a dictator. And the Republicans voted 13 times to reopen the government with a majority, including with John Fetterman, to a bipartisan majority. And it was the Democrats who voted against it every single time. This is a Schumer shutdown. And they're doing this for one reason, because Schumer fears a primary challenge from AOC and the radical left of his party. And this weekend, people are going to start going hungry. And when they start going hungry, they're going to say, who is to blame? And I believe the overwhelming answer is going to be the Democrats.
All right, we got to leave it right there in essence of time. I want to say thank you to all four of you. A big panel here, a great discussion. David Carlucci being a part of that, as well as Jeff Cooner. And a special thanks to Deneen Borelli and Charles Love, who have been a part of the broadcast for all 3 hours.
All right, great stuff, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. And before we let you go,